Camps Bay, the Riviera of Cape Town, or if you're Welsh, the Swansea of South Africa. At least that's according to Colin Charvis, the former Welsh captain, one of the all-time greats of Wales rugby, and now a massive fan of South Africa. Colin, you've been telling me for years now that Camps Bay is just like Swansea, so you must be feeling quite at home at the moment.
Yeah, it's nice to relax. We've had a hectic few weeks over here. It's an overnight flight down from Heathrow here. Over the years, I've made more and more friends over here. I've worked on TV over here, so I'm starting to feel almost at home. But South Africans and South Africa gave me some great rugby memories and some great friendships, and it's just great to come along and enjoy, in particular today, some peaceful time.
Now, those rugby memories include some great games against the Springboks and meeting some rather special people, including the chance as captain of Wales to introduce your team to Madiba.
Yeah, I think if you look on Facebook or Twitter, all 22 of us that were in the matchday squad that day, our profile picture is a picture with Nelson Mandela, which was just incredible, and an opportunity to meet that guy. I mean, up in Britain, we say he's the most influential man of the 21st century, and I can remember that day when we were in Loftus Versveld and we're lined up, and you see him coming, and it's like a huge aura moving towards you, and my 6'3" suddenly became about 5'3", to shake hands with the guy and talk to the guy, and he surprisingly knew a little bit about me. And as I introduced him to the team, he knew that Adam Jones was from Aberdare, and he knew Duncan Jones, and he knew a lot about the guys. But typically in a Welsh fashion, as I introduced him, obviously myself, and then the first guy was Duncan Jones. They had a bit of a chat, and the second guy was Adam Jones, Alan Wynne Jones, Brian Jones, Stephen Jones, and this went on, and then it was Litmi Gis Colin, another Jones. Actually, Mr. Mandela, it's Martin Williams. But just a typically Welsh sense of humour on the day you meet the most important man in the world, they're going to mess about a bit and line up 7 Joneses in a row.
You met him. You also met many great South Africans playing rugby. Some of them were tougher than others, including Andre Venter. He was one of your tougher opponents.
I remember playing against Andre Venter, and it was always a case that the coach would say, right, who's going to stop their big runner? And there'd always be one idiot with his hand up. And I remember just thinking, I had quite a few tussles against him, that the best thing I can really do is just get stuck into him. And I remember in one game in particular, there's a ruck, and his head's popping up, and it was just one of those that if I run over and punch him in the face, it'll just put his mind off the game a little bit. Unfortunately, as I was running over, my heels got clipped, I tripped, more of a slap than a punch. He's on top of me, pretty much dishing out his own justice to me, and to have very, very famous scrum half indeed lean over, and as I'm taking the beating of my life, just to hear a bit of abuse for being a Welshman, and then he just stopped, turned and said, "There's no need for that on the rugby pitch," and it was just kind of like oh my life, and then he carried on hitting me, and it's just a weird one, the toughness of those guys, the toughness of the Springboks, and yet everything's very calculated. They know what they're doing, they know what's fair play and what's not, and I have a lot of respect for them.
Our hospitality here is extended to a bicycle race that you've now had a third skirmish with. It's a novel way to see South Africa, but the epics become quite important to you because cycling's something do a fair amount of.
Yeah, I love my cycling, whether it be on the road or on a mountain bike, which obviously is quite difficult for me to hold on to. I'm hanging on for dear life most of the time. But a guy named Greg James once asked me to come and participate in a mountain bike race called the Absa Cape Epic, and I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. I completed it in 2013, and then was goaded again by more South Africans that, doing one is not enough, typically South African, I guess. So, twice I've been back since to enter the competition, and unfortunately twice it's been just too much for me. My little Welsh kidneys can't cope with this South African heat, and it's a case now I've just got to go home, lick my wounds a little bit, a bit of dented pride there. So I've no doubt that my journey with the Epic isn't over, but there may not always be two wheels underneath me.
You've been to South Africa a number of times yet. I haven't been to Wales yet, so I will make my way over. I'll come and visit you in Swansea, and who knows, might even buy a carpet or two.
Come over, I'll put the sleeping bag in the garage. You're more than welcome.